We are called upon to create a distraction by ringing the bells at the Temple of Sigmar. This is indeed a glorious and holy mission, for such sweet chimes will surely revive the fighting spirit of embattled Helmgart. Yes, I have a good feeling about this day. A change of fortunes is on the wind. Lona's accomplice, that disrespectful Kislevite, has departed to spy on the Ratmen. To aid her mission, we are to perform one of our own. By waking the bells at the Temple of Sigmar, we shall bring half the city's pact sworn down on us. Ha! Let them come! The Shallian hospice has gone strangely silent, and rumors abound of vile magic at work beneath its hallowed walls. Such indignities shall not be borne. While the Shallians are entirely too pacifist to be truly holy, they are nonetheless dedicated servants of righteousness. They shall be avenged! There is sorcery at work in the Shallian hospice. Some malefic practice that I am sworn to root out and destroy. But it is almost like old times, when I had the support of my order, and not a ragged band of misfits and ne'er-do-wells. Still, I shall persevere. Sigmar is testing me. There are no limits to the Northlanders' heresy. Even now they are breeding an uglier, fouler strain of troll in the depths of a nearby mine. I will not allow such heresy to continue unabated. The mine must be purged with fire and steel. Trolls cannot be counted among Sigmar's beloved creatures, but the specimens being bred in the mines are fouler even than the norm. Some heretical scheme of the Rotbloods, so Lona insists. I confess I need little convincing to put these experiments to an end. Lona has received warning of a Rotblood sorcerer plying heretical mischief down in Helmgart's depths. Well, it has been some time since I was permitted to chastise a witch. Let the fellow quail to know Victor Saltzpyre hunts him now. A Rotblood sorcerer is plying his foul trade down in Helmgart's ruins. The precise details of his scheme escape me, and in truth they matter not. He is a heretic, an invader, and a Northlander. For those crimes alone, I would gladly see him burn. This bridge of shadows we employ is increasingly unreliable. Lona insists the source lies in the old elven ruins a few leagues from here. Naturally, the true cause of woe is that we rely on untrustworthy magic. But I suppose it can't hurt to investigate the ruins. Ha! The Bridge of Shadows readily betrays its unsanctioned origins by growing ever more unreliable. I lend no credence to the notion that the problem is external and connected to a cluster of elven ruins. But I have been outvoted. Again! The Ratmen have raised a bell on Helmgart's wall. It is uncertain at this time if the artifact holds any great power, but Lona and I are in agreement that we should not take the risk. We will have to bring it down, with all haste. If I am to understand Lona correctly, either the Ratmen have raised a bell on Helmgart's walls, or the town has been overrun by pumpkins. I confess I wasn't listening to the detail. I found that it's often better not to. Still, bell or pumpkins, I'm sure we will prevail. Fort Brachsenbrücke's defenders have been lax and call for aid. While it does no good to cosset the idle, nor can we afford Brachsenbrücke's fall, so I have, magnanimously, agreed to lead a relief effort to its walls. Sigmar grant that we arrive in time. Fort Brachsenbrücke is beset, and we are charged with rescuing its defenders from a most undesirable fate. Such heroics sit ill with me, I must confess. But if my humble deeds are required to restore the wavering faith of my countrymen, then I shall bear the plaudits gladly. Carrack Knoll lies in Ratman hands. Freeing it is, I fear, beyond our meagre numbers. But we can at least chastise the warlord who commands the nest. His broken corpse is certain to provoke a fresh struggle for supremacy, distracting the Ratmen from our labors, at least for a time. The dwarfen stronghold of Carrack Knoll lies in the festering grip of a Ratman warlord, whom Lona has marked for death. Old alliances aside, the warlord's fall is sure to bring about schism in the enemy ranks. We can exploit that. The Pact Sworn are nothing but cowards and blackguards. Why else would they waste their hell-spawned might on defenseless farmers? Fuegonasus insists we intervene, and though it troubles me greatly that this is so, I find myself in complete agreement. The North empties of bloodthirsty heretics, and they waste their might on defenseless farmers. It was ever thus. The faithless lack understanding of true strength, but I shall teach them. Oh, yes, I shall. Gladly. Ussingen's Baron's Manor has been put to work as a provisions storehouse for the Northlanders. We shall burn it all. For is it not said that a starving army is one already half defeated? I confess, I am looking forward to this little excursion. The heretical Northlanders are using the town of Ussingen as a stockpile from which they provision their campaigns. This, naturally, we shall not allow. It will all have to be burned. Let the Northlanders eat the ashes, if they can stomach them. The Rotbloods have discovered some wretched, heretical artifact from ancient days. It is buried in the heart of a swamp, and I dread the consequences if they are permitted to claim their prize. This is a task for the righteous. I have had the name Gulmagak mentioned in certain unholy texts. The Rotbloods must not be permitted to uncover even a portion of his might. They must be stopped. Their bodies, and their cursed prize, returned to the mire forthwith. It seems we have drawn the notice of the Northlander chief. Good. While an array of thankless victories against nameless opponents does honor to Sigmar, the ire of one's titled enemies ranks among the sweetest of achievements, second only to their necessary and welcome demise. Our adversary in the Northlander ranks has a name, Birdvar Ribspreader. It is certainly colorful. But then what does a name matter to a heretic bound for an unmarked grave in the Reichland mud? For that is where I intend to leave him. The Ratmen have constructed a magical gateway in the bowels of Helmgard. It is from this portal that their faithless ranks receive endless reinforcement. But no longer. The hour has come in which it shall be destroyed. By my hand. Lona believes that the Ratman Skittergate is no longer guarded with unceasing vigilance. It is often the way that the faithless bring about their own destruction through laxity. So it shall be here, for our victory begins with the Skittergate's destruction. The Pact Sworn have been abducting villagers in the shadow of Castle Drachenfels. A true servant of Sigmar knows no fear, but he should, perhaps, be wary, especially in such a place. But I have pledged my life to confronting evils. I will not turn back now. Castle Drachenfels. I have no desire to walk beneath its shadow a second time, but the pact sworn have left me little choice. In recent days there have been many abductions from the nearby villages, and someone must fight for those people. As we proceed deeper into Castle Drachenfels, my thoughts turn to the many legends about the place. Most are simple invention, I am sure, but others... All the more reason to rescue the abductees with all haste. Fairness for the faithless! Our path leads into the castle itself. I have no idea if those we seek are even alive, let alone unspoiled. But a righteous man does not turn aside simply because the trail leads into darkness. I carry Sigmar's light, and I will triumph! A rotblood has claimed Castle Drachenfels for his own, and I fear there is nothing else for it but to carve him to pieces in retribution for his black deeds. I jest, of course. A grisly death was always to have been his fate. He has no one to blame for that but himself. Aha! It is not the spectre of Constant Drachenfels who haunts this castle, but a rotblood who seeks to usurp legends for his own purposes. I find myself greatly cheered by the prospect. After all, what is a witch hunter without witches to hunt? There is plague in Bergenhafen. Of course, there often is, most likely due to the inbred inhabitants worshipping the false god Bergenauer. Still, I suppose it costs us nothing to be certain darker forces are not at work. It has been too long since my last visit. Bergenhafen is assailed by plague. Loner believes the Pactsworn are responsible, and this may indeed be true. I can feel my nose twitching, as it ever does when matters are amiss. An investigation is called for. I will have the truth of this matter. It appears that the Bergenhafen plague is the consequence of my old acquaintance, Father Krausman, having uncovered a cursed Chaos rune sword. Will the man never learn? No matter. Wiser hands than his will bring the matter to an end. Namely, mine. The situation in Bergenhafen is worse than we believed. The plague is no natural event, but caused by the presence of a Chaos rune sword. My old ally, Father Krausman, has this Blightreaper under lock and key. But I would feel safer were it in more capable hands. Disaster! Obersreich is besieged by ratmen. They do exist, though the occasion of undeniable proof could be happier. The alarm must be raised if the city is to be saved. But these companions... Kruber will serve well enough, but the witch, the dwarf, the elf... Ugh! Trying times lie ahead, I deem. Obersreich is assailed by ratmen, and the only companions I have to hand are a band of misfits only a fool would trust. Still, it is the burden of the faithful to forge on through less than ideal circumstances. The Horn of Magnus must be blown, and I shall see it done. The ratmen are brewing their vile concoctions in Morr's field. I shudder to think at the ingredients they employ in their labours, though in any case the response would be the same. Immediate and thorough extermination. I shall treasure the coming moments. Simple pleasures should always be indulged. Poison abounds in the garden of Morr, a place that should bask only in tranquility and mindfulness. Doubtless this is ratman work, and while we shall only know for certain once the investigation is underway, my nose is twitching. The rat men are building their damnable war engines out in the forest. This cannot be tolerated, but we must tread carefully. The forest holds many dangers, verminous or otherwise. Many a righteous man has lost his way in all that cursed greenery. There are rumors of the rat men building war engines beyond the walls. If uncontested, this will surely end badly for Helmgart, so an excursion into the forest seems called for. Perhaps the elf will actually prove useful here. A meteor split the skies this past night, and I fear it brings yet more warpstone into the world. Should the rat-men get their claws upon it, they will surely wreak great mischief before they're done. So we shall see that they do not, and enjoy ourselves greatly in the deed. Warpstone hath rained down upon the world. It must be recovered or destroyed before the rat-men are able to retrieve it for themselves. This will be no easy mission, but I deem we are apt to the task, at least if the others cooperate with my instructions. Helmgart is quiet for the moment, and Lona has suggested I spend the time carousing with my, well, I suppose companions is as good a word as any. Liquor is a mocker of wit, and the others have so few wits to begin with. I suppose I should accompany them, in a purely supervisory capacity. Lona is insisting that we take advantage of the recent lull and occupy ourselves with some quality bonding time. The others naturally intend to drink themselves into a stupor, but I intend to stay stone-cold sober throughout. Someone must set an example.